So you want to be a rock star? I'm not saying it's going to be easy.
Gnarly. Right into the freaking blender here.
Oh, that was tough. Blown skis, and it sure won't be glamorous. I don't want to get out. But the journey is sweet, the views are breathtaking, and the sense of accomplishment, totally worth it. Hey guys, Kerry Werner here, and through this walkthrough series, I wanted to share with you some of my Rockstar Trail experience. Give you some tricks and tips that I learned along the way that will hopefully make your journey a bit smoother, take some anxiety out of kicking this thing off, and ultimately help you finish the ride. So let's jump right in with day one. Now, I should start off by saying I did this in 4 days. If you're planning on doing this in 3 or 2 or more than 4 days, you might want to pick different camp spots. I'm going to walk through the day, share with you things that I learned along the way, water stops, food stop, alternate camp spots, just trail information, and hopefully that will help you make an informed decision about how you want your trip to be. So day one, for me, was 68 miles, Harrisonburg to Braley Pond. You start off on 20 miles of rolly farm road. Typically, you're gonna have a headwind as wind comes out of the south and the ridges of the Shenandoah Mountains kind of funnels it up northeast. So not a big deal, it's pretty rolly and flat. You'll cover this first 20 miles pretty quick and you'll have an inflated sense of overall average speed. That bubble quickly gets deflated as you start climbing your way up to the first kind of technical section. It's roughly a 5-mile climb up to a 4x4 ridge line that is really gnarly and it undulates across the top. I was up there and saw some 4x4 vehicles. There's some puddles after rain and just overall short, steep climbs. Really rocky, and it's a bit of a slog to get through. But once you get through that, which takes about 10 miles, you cross a pavement road and start your climb up to Reddish Knob. Reddish Knob is a paved climb that takes you up to a really cool view with interesting graffiti. Then you'll drop off Reddish Knob and take a right into your first bit of single track. The 4x4 ridgeline was a good warm-up, but this first bit of single track is wicked technical. Super rocky, and it'll definitely test your setup and kind of give you a sense of what's to come. From here you get a pretty mellow ridgeline traverse and then a really ripping descent down to gravel onto Tillman Road. Hey guys, you'll get on it for a bit and then hit another bit of single track before popping back out onto Tillman Road, and you traverse Tillman Road on gravel all the way over to the White Oak Trail in the North River area. Prepare yourself. I think this is about 50 miles in. There's 18 miles to go from here and it's roughly a 10-mile climb. This White Oak Trail is really technical and really rocky, and it feels like it goes on forever.
Hey there.
Hey, how are you?
Good. One more.
You get out of proper single track and maybe have 3 miles to the top of Dowell's Draft. That double track 3-mile climb is tough and unwavering. It'll definitely make you wish there was water up there so you could just stop and camp. But once you crest over Dowell's Draft, you drop in, and that is one of my favorite descents on the whole Rockstar Trail. Super narrow bench cut, really no pedaling once you drop in. It's pretty cool, and that takes you all the way down to Braley Pond Road, cross it, and there you are, Braley Pond. So once you get about 4 miles from Braley Pond, that's your real end destination. You get up to the top of White Oak Trail and you've made it. You just got a rip descent down into the camp spot. So that's where I stopped the first night. I didn't do as much research, and I later found out that instead of heading directly to Braley Pond, you can jump on 250 for less than a quarter mile and go to the Mountain View General Store, where they will make you home-cooked food and you can stock up on gas station snacks and drinks and stuff. I didn't know that, so I just packed it all in, went straight to Braley Pond, rehydrated my freeze-dried meal, and called it a night. That was 68 miles, 10,000 feet of climbing, and 7 hours of ride time for me. That's a 9.8 mile an hour average, and I burned roughly 5,000 calories on the day. I think that's the biggest thing to think about here, is with it being so remote and trail only going through towns that starts and ends, calories that you need to take in are crucial. And so whenever you do go through an area and you can restock, you should do that. Consequently, that makes your pack heavy. I think it's well worth it to carry around that extra bit of calorie. So camp at Braley Pond, and then either wake up in the morning and have breakfast at your camp spot. You know, I had instant oatmeal every day that I was on the trail, but in this particular location, you could actually ride back to the Mountain View General Store, which is only like a 5-minute pedal. Get yourself a nice warm egg biscuit and cheese sandwich, a real egg, hot coffee, and gas station snacks before then getting back on the trail. Other water stops are right before you start the big climb up to the 4x4 ridge towards the beginning of the trail, maybe 25 miles in. The descent at the bottom of Reddish Knob, there's a really big creek that you can fill up at. There's a creek all along Tillman Road as you traverse over to the White Oak Trail. Swinging Bridge on White Oak Trail has a river at the bottom, and so water isn't a huge issue on the first day. I think alternate camp spots are before you start White Oak climb. Once you start climbing up White Oak, there's no water up there. It's pretty crucial to have water. My camp spot at Braley Pond was right next to a creek, so that was super convenient. If you wanted to keep pushing, a good spot to go to would be actually the next hollow over. You climb up out of Braley Pond on Johnson's Draft and drop into a hollow that has a parking area at the bottom of the Highway 250 climb. There's a trail that parallels Highway 250 that takes you up to Shenandoah Mountain Trail, which we'll get into tomorrow. But if you wanted to push a bit more, you could go there, make it a 75-mile day, and there's a creek at the bottom of that as well. Otherwise, you have to take the Shenandoah Mountain Trail, which is ridgeline, 20 miles until you drop off the other side into the Fort Lewis Valley. So not sure how spicy you want to make day one, but for me, doing 4 days, 68 miles was plenty, especially with 7 hours of ride time. So I think that about covers day one. The next episode we'll jump into day two. Let me know if you have any questions or comments below, and I'll be sure to sort those out.